Procter, and I am in my first year of my PhD in Landscape Archaeology at the University of Exeter, which is a fully funded 3-year PhD. And over the next few weeks I'm going to tell you a bit about how I organise my work and manage my time doing my PhD. Also just showing you my workspace and where I work, talking a little bit about some of the field work that I'm doing, and also the fact that I'm doing my PhD as a career change and as a father with 2 children, so just talking a little bit about doing a PhD in those circumstances of someone who's maybe a little bit older than average, and also some reflections on how it's gone so far in my first 8 months or so. So this is my study / spare room, which is where, because I'm home based, I do most of my research work. It's up at the top of the house, so it's nicely tucked away from any distractions and interference, unless one of my daughters comes up and disturbs me. So over here is my desk with laptop, printer, etc. There's also speakers there because I tend to listen to the radio whilst I'm working to help me concentrate. Under the desk there's a bit of an unruly pile of books that I'm currently working on. Over here I have got quite a lot of books and journals and maps and things which I've built up over the years, and my partner thinks there are too many of them, but they're very useful, and I am constantly using those as a reference tool, which is to hand and kind of complements stuff that I can get from the internet or having to go out to a library. Over here is a kind of pile of map sheets. These are copies of 19th century tithe maps that I'm working on. And there's a sofa here, so I can spread out a bit and also sit down and think if I need to. Yet another pile of maps there. A window, always useful. And another place to sit if I need to change my position for more research thinking. So that's my study area where I can get away from distractions and work away. So on days when I'm working at home, I will tend to have a bit of a routine. So generally I drop my daughters off at school, then come straight home, come straight up here and work through and really stay up here most of the day. Just have lunch downstairs, then pick my girls up from school, and then I come back up here a bit because they're old enough to do things themselves, and so really do a sort of normal 9 to 5-ish day, really. Not every day, but that's my most regular day, and it's useful to have that kind of routine when you're doing a PhD. If I was just working downstairs on the kitchen table, as it were, or in the lounge, I think there'd be too many other distractions. But also it means I don't have to go out and find some space in the library every day, and because I'm based in Bristol, which is an hour and a half away from Exeter, which is the university that I'm attached to, obviously this is pretty vital really for me to enable me to work effectively. Okay, so last week was a fairly typical week for me in terms of my PhD work. I went down to Exeter for a day to meet with my supervisor, which I tend to do about once a month. That's just an opportunity to kind of review progress, for him to give feedback on any pieces of work that I've submitted, and also just kind of talk through plans for the coming months. I spent a couple of days working from home, a day reviewing some books and journals and taking notes on those, and a day drawing some maps for one of my case studies that I'm doing in a GIS package that I use. And I also went to see an expert in my field, someone who's an expert in monastic landscapes, who I know quite well, just to talk through my projects and get some sort of feedback from him really, and also he gave me some thoughts on who else it might be useful for me to make contact with. It's good, as well as your supervisor, to try and have contact with other people in your subject area where you can. So also yesterday I made a presentation to a local history group who are in the area of one of my case studies, just updating them on my research. Then next week I'm planning to spend a day at the University of Bristol Library. Because I'm quite a long way from Exeter, then it's not like that easy for me to pop down there to go to the library. So I've joined a scheme where I can basically use Bristol University Library as a kind of external user, which allows me to go and use their facilities and take books out, which is really useful. I've got another couple of days working at home, and then I've got a day where I'm planning to do some field work and go on a fairly long 10-mile walk through my case study area, taking photographs and notes and observing the landscape. Okay, so that's me signing out for my first vlog report. Next week I'll be talking in a bit more detail about how I organise my work, and also just reflecting on doing a PhD when you're a bit older as a career changer and with children. So I will see you next time.